Now we get to hear from our candidates, which is what you all came for anyway. Our first, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 local races, and then we also have a Senate primary in Arkansas, and then we have the presidential primary. We have some representatives from one of the president's campaign. If there's anybody that wants to speak on behalf of either Senator Bozeman or Curtis Coleman for their campaigns, I'd be proud to give you 3 minutes, just like we give the rest of the candidates. If there's anybody, I know we have the whites here that would be happy to speak for Senator Ted Cruz, who's running for president. If there's anybody that would like to speak for 3 minutes on behalf of their presidential candidate, we will also give you that time. So if there's, if we get to that point, just raise your hand and I will acknowledge you. Our first race is JP8. We have 2 candidates, Brian Johnson and Jason Brazil. And Brian Johnson won the coin toss and is elected to go first. And I'm going to sit in the front row and throw stuff at him when we talk to him.
Let's give him a round of applause. I want to start by saying thanks for having us tonight. Like Matt said, my name is Brian Johnson, running for JP District 8. 31 years old. Been married for almost 10 years to a Garland County girl. We have 2 daughters. One of them is 6 years old. One of them is 6 weeks old, so we have our hands full right now. I'm a practicing attorney. I have an office about a block from here. And the reason that I'm running for JP is I kind of want to help the community. I want to give back to the community, and I want the community to remain a great place to live, just like it was for me and my wife whenever we were growing up. And I think I can add something to the court report just through my practice of law. I get to interact with a lot of different county offices, both courthouses, prosecuting attorney's office, public defender's office, the jail, the Garland County Sheriff's office. So I have a little bit of insight onto maybe why they need funding or maybe why they don't need the funding that they're asking for. And also, through my practice and through law school, we learn how to construct laws and how the laws, the application of the laws affect people in our community. And I deal with them on a daily basis. So I think I can have a little bit of insight that can contribute to the quorum court. And if it presents itself, I'll look forward to it. And thanks for having me.
Okay. The other candidate for Justice of the Peace District 8 is Jason Brazil. Let's give him a round of applause.
Good evening, fellow Republicans and guests. It's a pleasure for me to be here tonight. I appreciate y'all letting us come out and speak and let everybody see us and see who we are. I have been a lifelong resident of Garland County, born and raised here in southwest Garland County, as a matter of fact. I've got a beautiful wife, Karen. I've got a daughter, Carol Ann, and I've got a son, Mark, who's in college. Carol Ann's still in high school, about to graduate. I'm an agriculture teacher and proud to be a public educator at Lake Hamilton School. I've worked there for the past 13 years. I've been teaching for 16. I've been very active in a lot of our community facets, I guess you could say. I'm a member of the Garland County Farm Bureau, as well as a board member there. I'm also in the Garland County Cattlemen's Association, FFA alumni, as well as the Hot Springs Saddle Club, proud member of Piercy Baptist Church. Along with being an agriculture instructor, I also am an FFA advisor, so I deal with a lot of kids and I work with a lot of parents on a daily basis. We try to teach them a lot of leadership, and I try to instill those leadership values into all of our students, and I feel that I can also project a lot of that leadership into the quorum court if I'm elected by our public. And I would appreciate all your support, and thank you very much.
Our next next race is Justice of the Peace District 13, Mr. Ralph Eds. Let's give him a round of applause.
I'm Ralph Edge, running for Justice of the Peace, District 13. There's been a lot of talk in the news about being a natural-born citizen. I want to tell you I'm a natural-born citizen. I was born at the Math and Science School. Everyone knows. It used to be the St. Joe Hospital back in 1953. I'm giving away my age here. I was born there, the baby of 6 children. And I grew up at Fountain Lake, graduated Fountain Lake High School in 1971, went on to Henderson State University, where I got my degree there in education, played basketball and track while I was there. I was fortunate to meet my wife when I was there. She's in the back. She happened to go to Washita Baptist University. We married our junior year. We've been married 41 years. We have 2 grown sons. And we got the opportunity to teach at the same school in 1975, starting out. I was a coach, she was a kindergarten teacher. I've been in education most of my life. I retired from the Arkansas Department of Career Education in 2013, and guess what I'm still doing? I'm working in education part-time. And I'm proud to live in a country where I can do something that I've never done before, and that's run for public office. I want to give back to my community where I grew up and had a lot of memories. I live on the old home place where I grew up. Built a new house there back about 12, 13 years ago. I want to serve the citizens of our community. I want to get more involved in politics, government, and I want to take an active role. And I want to be a voice for you who are in District 13, representing our community. Thank you so much.
Candidate for JP District 13, Justice of the Peace, Larry Rainey.
Hi guys, most of you know me. I'm Larry Rainey. I've lived here 12 years now. I've been coming here 52 years. I first came here 52 years ago on my honeymoon and stayed on the property that we currently live on. It's been in my wife's family. She's now the 5th generation to own it. Wasn't born here, I was born in Texas. Don't hold that against me. But I chose to live here and I love it here. And the reason I have gotten involved in public service is because I've always had this thing about giving something back to the community you live in. I started off by serving on a planning and zoning commission down in Texas, chaired it, went on to be on the city council, moved to Oklahoma, did the same thing there, moved here, did the same thing here. For a good number of years, I represented the county on the city planning commission, and out of those 10 years that I served there, I chaired it most of the time. I've also served on some special committees for Larry Williams when he was the county judge, and I have served several years on the Lake Washita Citizens Focus Committee, and now serve on the JP Court, and I like that work. Now I don't want to bust your bubble, but JP work is pretty much like washing the car, cutting the grass, and cleaning the house. There's not a lot of glamour in it, and once you get it done, it just has to be done again. But I like the work. I think I'm halfway decent at it, and I'd like to be reelected and continue to serve. So if you know anybody that lives in District 13, or you do live in District 13, I'd love to have your vote. Now, I'd like to digress for a minute. It's not part of my campaign speech, but listen. Folks, I am very concerned about this country and where we're going and what this national election means to this country. We are on the cusp. We are a quarter standing on its edge. And if this election goes badly, we're all going to be hurting real bad. I had a friend that told me the other night, he just couldn't vote for somebody if that's who the Republicans came up with. Well, listen, I kind of feel the same way, but I'm going to tell you this. Whoever gets the nomination, I'm voting for him. If I have to hold my nose and walk him back, because the alternative is just too doggone nasty to have to think about it. And so I want to urge all of you all to adopt the same thing and talk to your friends and tell them, look, guys, we've got to get this election. We have no choice. It's our future, it's our kids, our grandkids. We better be thinking long term on this. Thank you much, folks. Appreciate it.
Very good. You all know that we have some other candidates that will have races in the general election, and some of them are here tonight. Just real quick, Blake Crawford, you just want to stand up and say hi? Just say hi to everybody. We'll let you guys speak at a later meeting.
Okay.
Blake is running for Justice of the Peace District 3. And Jimmy Young, stand up, everybody knows who Jimmy is. Jimmy is running for Justice of the Peace District 4. So we're glad to have you, and we'll let you guys talk a little bit more as we get closer to the general. We want to give our primary candidates some time tonight though. Okay, our next race is County Treasurer and Treasurer Tim Stockdale.
Well, I'm Tim Stockdale, your Garland County Treasurer. And start off by telling you a little bit about my personal life before we get into the office. My wife, Brandy, is sitting back there. I'm a Persian Gulf War veteran with 20 years of active duty Air Force and National Guard service. I've been in Arkansas for 35 years. I retired from the military in 2004 as the first sergeant for the 223rd Combat Communications Squadron. I've been the county treasurer since January 1st of 2011. I taught leadership and management skills at the College of Professional Military Education while I was in the military, a member of American Legion, VFW, Air Force Sergeant Association, and Disabled American Veterans. I have a bachelor's degree in organizational management from John Brown University, where I graduated with 4.0 GPA with honors. An old man can do that. I have an associate's degree in avionics systems technology. I currently serve on the executive committee for the Arkansas County Treasurers Association, where I'm the 4th District representative for all the treasurers in the 4th Congressional District. And what we do is we get with our legislators and on bills that are important to treasurers. So we help, from the beginning, come up with ideas for bills that would benefit the taxpayers that we have direct control of in the Treasurer's Office. So then we get with our legislators and ask them if they could sponsor a bill, and we work through that process all the way to the end. And we do have good legislators here that they take care of Garland County, and I appreciate you guys. And girls. I have 117 hours of County Treasurer Association continuing education. And as far as community service, I'm the same way. I think we need to give back to our communities because we live in a country that has blessed us. God has blessed us in ways unimaginable. So I think we should give back, not just because as a public official, but as a member of the community. And currently I serve on the steering committee for the Hot Springs Future Fund, on the Salvation Army Board, Garland County Cares, and I'm on the planning committee for the Hot Springs and Garland County Leadership Prayer Breakfast. And I do all that not just because I'm running for office, because I've been doing it for several years, but I do it because I want to give back to the community. Before I was treasurer, I was mayor of Fountain Lake for 3 years, and then served as a city director for 2 years prior to that, while I was a lead manufacturing engineer for Falcon Jet in Little Rock and a flight test technician. As far as the office goes, I'll make it quick, but since January 1st, 2011, January 1st of this year, our office has reduced our budget by $15,938. We do that by improving our processes and mostly technical ways, changing our software, things of that nature. We save almost 50,000 sheets of paper a year by just redoing our software and not having to make copies and And I gotta go.
I hate to cut a man off when he's preaching. Another next candidate for Garland County Treasurer is Jeremy Brown.
Well, good evening, Garland County Republican Party, Garland County voters and distinguished guests. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce myself to you, let you know a little bit about myself and what my career has been and what I can offer to this office. My name is Jeremy Brown. I'm a proud native of Garland County, and I want to be your Garland County Treasurer. I'm a graduate of Mountain Pine High School and John Brown University, where I obtained an organizational management degree. I'm blessed with an accomplished and supportive wife of 12 years, Sarah Brown, with the National Park College, and 2 children, Zachary and Abby. In 1996, I began my financial sector career in the insurance industry as Director of Technology Services. I was charged with computer software development from conceptual design, critical and logical thinking, to testing and end-user training of our enrollment software. I work closely with insurance company actuaries on building rate calculation engines for their products. In 2001, I started a successful small business and thriving business here in the county with Farmers Insurance representing their products and serving the Garland County residents. During that time, I became registered with the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, which is FINRA, to sell variable products. As an agent, I took a proactive approach to analyzing my clients' needs and goals and identified options to protect their assets, but also ways to grow their assets that fit the suitability and goals. I received the honor of advancing into a district manager role with Farmers Insurance in 2010, where I managed a territory of 20 agents and was charged with growing, training, and recruiting new individuals into the industry. Today, I remain a small business owner in Garland County, owning residential rental property. My decision to seek public office is one that I felt called to do for many years. The office of treasurer is where I believe my education, knowledge, and experience can make the most impact today. From critical and logical thinking, owning, managing, and operating successful small businesses, I'm attentive to budget management and remain steadfast in being fiscally responsible, both professionally and personally. I'm committed to high moral integrity and believe that it is critical to know the people and businesses that you introduce into your organization. Additionally, my investment knowledge will be very beneficial to the Treasurer's Office as well as the county. Sorry about that. I have a proven ability to work well with others, value collaborative problem solving, and will communicate both popular and unpopular decisions in a manner that promotes respect and understanding. My mentor and pastor once told me, the people that have brought you where you are will not always be the ones that take you where you need to go. Though we have traveled some distance, there is still much to be accomplished, and I am the candidate to take you the next distance. I'm Jeremy Brown. I want to be your treasurer. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Our next race is for State Representative District 25. Our first candidate is Les Moore.
Well, I'm excited about the opportunity to be mine and successful to be representative for the 25th District. I love Hot Springs and Garland County and have been working here and serving here for a long time now. I believe this community is a shining star of our state, and we need strong representation at the state capitol to make sure we get adequate funding on projects, and that our people get a voice in the laws of our land. There are many issues that will arise in the next legislative session: healthcare, education, economic development, and a host of others, but I'll focus on those three. I think we would all agree that on some basic points. We want to make sure people have insurance. We want good health care facilities and good doctors. We want to be able to afford it all. But how do we do it all? A lot of work has been done in the last legislative session. Progress was made and more can be made. The governor and his staff have been doing extensive work. If elected, I want to study the work being done and work with other lawmakers to make for the best possible system for the people of Arkansas. But I think it is critical that we make informed decisions with as many facts as possible. Second, education. This is a hot topic. I was on the Lakeside School Board for 10 years, and we worked hard to prepare students for the next step. Public schools are coming under fire. I watched teachers and administrators work together to do a great job educating our young people. Common Core is basically being replaced with Arkansas standards by Arkansas teachers. The standards are more in line with what we see our Arkansas teachers saw as being in line with what our students need. This was done at the request of the governor. Implementation will begin next year. We need to build on what is good. It may not be working everywhere, but let's take a good look at places like Garland County, where all 7 school districts are working together, collaborating, and making good things happen. I've worked with all the area superintendents and the president of National Park Community College to share ideas and work on ways to come up with innovative ideas to improve education right here in our community. And let us show what we're doing and become an example for the rest of the state. Economic development. There's a ballot measure that's coming before the people this next November to amend the Constitution to allow communities several ways to help with economic development locally. Be watching for it. It's currently known as SRJ 16. It could be a huge help to Hot Springs in our efforts to attract new businesses here. Good things are happening, but we need to work to make for a better future, and I want to be your state representative for District 25 and work to make for that better future. Thank you.
Richard Midkiff.
I probably don't need this, but either way, thank you very much, Republican Party, for giving me some time to speak. I'm Richard Midkiff. I am a lifelong Republican from Garland County. I'm a 4th generation. I was raised in Hot Springs, Arkansas, in San Jose, Costa Rica. I am half Hispanic. Many of y'all don't know that, but my mom was from Costa Rica. They were preachers and missionaries down there for 37 years. I'm a 2nd generation public servant. My grandfather was a justice of peace here for many years during the 70s. I'm married to the lovely Kathy DeSantis Midkiff from Boston, Massachusetts. And between us, we have 9 children. I'm also in the military. My career spans over 31 years. I'm still serving in the United States Army. I've served in the Navy. I'm a combat veteran with tours from theaters of operation all the way from Africa to Russia to Iraq and Kuwait. I first thought about serving when I got to meet the president, which was President Ronald Reagan on board the USS John F. Kennedy to help the flag for him. Education, I have a bachelor's from the University of Arkansas in political science. This is a Republican primary, therefore I find it important that we know where I stand on Republican issues and issues that are important to us, our children, and the American people. private option, Obamacare, whatever you want to call it, is not a good thing for Arkansas. I would never vote to extend it. I agree that we need insurance for everybody. There is a great thing about people that do not have health insurance and now have health insurance. But the problem is, when the working man is paying for it, then that's a bad thing. So we need to replace that. When we talk about Common Core, you can change the name, but it is what it is. It's not good for our children. I know I've got 5 at Lakeside. A couple more things. I believe that marriage is defined between one man and one woman.
Yeah.
I am 100% pro-life. Abortion is murder. I said it on TV and I'll say it to you. I have an issue that I've looked at. It's the homeless. We have 1,000 children that attend school in Garland County every day that are homeless. You add on their siblings that aren't old enough to go to school, that's 1,500. These are the ones that can't take care of them. We have to take care of them. So you know what? I realize a lot of the parents aren't going to vote. That's completely okay. We need to take care of them. I am pro-Second Amendment. I'm against any legislation that would ever infringe our Second Amendment rights, which is currently you've seen on the news by President Barack Obama. I'm against any gas tax in Arkansas. One other thing that I'd like to talk about is the Department of Human Services. I had a chance last month to attend the Arkansas Joint Performance Review Committee that was chaired by a great senator, you all know him, Senator Alan Clark. And I have to tell you, there's a whole lot of work to be done there. He's done a great thing, though. Our Department of Human Services, Arkansas lady spoke, and she bragged about that we copied a whole bunch of stuff from the state of Oklahoma. Well, what you might want to know is that state lost a lawsuit, Oklahoma versus E.G. Yarborough, and they had to adopt the Pinnacle Plan. So did we really go adopt stuff from the state that lost the lawsuit because they were not, because the children in their state were being mistreated and abused under state control? So having said that, please remember, I fought for you overseas. Now let me fight for you in Little Rock. I appreciate your vote on March 1st.
Okay. Is there anyone that would like to speak for either Senator Bozeman's campaign or Curtis Coleman?
I'll speak for Senator Bozeman.
Okay. And you should know that Denise is...
There you go.
You should know, let me make a disclaimer, these are not paid spokespeople for these campaigns. And so anything they say could probably be used against them, not the senator. Let's give Denise a hand.
I don't have anything prepared, but I can tell you from my personal experience with Senator Bozeman. And when I think about a senator that represents us in Washington, Senator Bozeman comes to mind. I have personally experienced his quiet leadership, his thoughtful leadership, his ability to manage and multitask, his knowledge of the issues. In Washington, I sat in his office and I observed his staff. And I saw a staff that was attentive to constituents. They were well organized, they were extremely knowledgeable, and they listened. They did not talk. They listened and asked intelligent questions. When I was in Washington, Senator Bozeman really did not have time for us. He was being called for on the Senate floor, but again, we were constituents. He made time. He took 10 minutes and he sat and he listened and he took notes and he made sure his staff took notes. I have contacted him as a constituent and found him and his staff to be extremely attentive. They respond back quickly and they try to gather information from all sides. Again, I know that sometimes people question Senator Bozeman because he's not on the 5 o'clock news or the 5:30 news or the 10 o'clock news all the time. But I have witnessed his ability to communicate, to listen, and to represent his constituents. And he didn't know I'm here. He didn't, know me hardly from Adam. But I plan to vote for him, and I would encourage everyone to research the candidates for the Senate carefully, make an informed vote, and I would ask your support for Senator John Bozeman.
We're not having anything prepared. Okay, somebody's spoken for his campaign. Does anybody want to speak for Curtis Coleman? Just want to give you the chance. Okay. Very good. Thank you. Denise is the wife of our county judge, if you didn't know. She's the reason everything goes so smoothly. Get that right. I know. Okay. We have the Whites here for Ted Cruz's campaign. And then if anybody else, after they get done, if anybody else wants to speak for one of the other presidential candidates, we won't hold it against you, and you can speak as well. So let us welcome Marcella.
Like Matt said, my name is Marcella White, and I grew up in a place where you're not allowed to be involved in the political process. Almost everything was decided for you, basic things like which doctor you go to, which school you go to, how you teach your children, what to say, what not to say, how many children to have, how much food you can eat, how much electricity you can use, how much natural gas, basic things. And I feel like we're losing our liberties right now under pretense of security, and I think we're in big trouble. We're in really, really big trouble. And I thought this would be a good time for me to get involved because you are heading where I came from, and that's just not a good place. So I'm going to be taking I applied for my citizenship so I can do a little bit more and vote for the next president of the United States. And the reason I picked Ted Cruz, he's #1 by far in my list, is because I connect so strongly with his father. Rafael grew up in Cuba, and I grew up in socialist Romania, and I know how I raised my children, and I know that Rafael raised Ted to be a man of character and integrity, taught him to revere the scripture and the Constitution, and I think you have those two, you fix all the problems in the world. If you're interested in helping with anything, or if there is anything I can do for you, please let me know. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to follow up with some of the things with her. What she said about Ted Cruz's father, raising him with a deep, sincere reverence for our Constitution. Marcella has said it several times, and I've heard Rafael Cruz say it several times, and that is that I had a place to escape to. If we lose this, there is no other place to escape to. And you are so blessed to have been born in a constitutional republic, a government of a constitutional republic. And Ted Cruz, I've heard a lot of things about these candidates. We're blessed. We've got a lot of really good candidates for president this year. But there's one that has the moral compass. There's a statement that I've used and I've learned when I'm teaching in corporate America, and that is, what's learned first is learned best and repeated in times of stress. Ted Cruz's father has taught him the same way that we've taught our 6 children. When we're sitting at the dinner table, we talk about the greatness of this nation and what made it great. His father taught him that from a very early age, and he memorized, Ted Cruz memorized the Constitution at the age of 13. Right? His quote is, "My touchstone for every decision is the Constitution." So, I know a lot of you have candidates that you have decided upon, and you have your reasons, and some of those reasons are outstanding. Marcella and I have met a lot of those candidates, and we've spent one-on-one time with them. They're good people. I would ask, though, when it gets down to the primary, right now the polls, they can't be trusted. It's the tail wagging the dog, all right? If you really want to know what the poll is wait till
2 to 3 weeks out. They have to true their numbers at that point. Because if they don't, and they're so far off when the actual election results occur, then they're not going to be getting contracts later on to do polling. So they're going to true their numbers in the weeks right before the election. Pay attention to those numbers. And if you see 2 candidates way up here at the top, and then you see the other candidates far below the margin of error, and I'm talking 5, 6, and further on down, and your candidate that you are so loyal to is down here, consider up here. Who has the moral compass that when the winds and the storms come, what are they going to go back to that they have learned best? What are they going to do in times of stress? And vote for that candidate up here rather than the one that you have really just felt so connected to. Thank you. Oh, by the way, one last thing. We have, I was asked to make an announcement. And Matt said this would be great. The Garland County Tea Party has Jan Morgan speaking on the 28th, 7 p.m. Where is it? Five Star Theater. She's written all over it. We had dinner with her last night. Great woman. And so, 28th. And last thing, we have a few materials out there that I wanted to point out to you. We have a commitment card. If you're willing to sign a commitment card for Ted Cruz and to help with the campaign. We have his resume, which I've never seen anything like it. It's absolutely incredible. That's for you to pick up. And then we have his proven record of the things he has actually accomplished, the times that he has gone against the Washington cartel for the citizens of this great nation. Thank you.
Okay. Lori, come on up, please. Representative Rushing.
I'm glad everyone's here tonight. I just want to make a quick announcement. I am not going to speak for my presidential candidate. I am on the Marco Rubio leadership team here in Arkansas, but we're trying to get him here in Garland County at the end of January, 1st of February, so I'll let him speak on his own behalf at that point. But I was contacted by Jeb Bush campaign, and they are looking for someone to head up on his leadership team here in Garland County. So if any of you are a Jeb Bush supporter and would like to head up that part of the campaign, his campaign, let me know and I can get you in touch with the right people.
Thank you. Give Representative Rushing a hand. Okay, I'm going to go through the presidential candidates, and if you want to speak on behalf of one of them and you don't think you'll get them in trouble, raise your hand. Is Pataki still in? No. He stepped down? Okay. And Santorum?
He's out.
He's out?
No, he's in.
Graham's out.
He's still in.
Graham's out, right?
Yeah. Oh, Graham.
Lindsey Graham? Okay.
He's out. He's out.
Okay. Kasich?
In.
He's in. Does anybody want to speak for Kasich? Okay. Bush? Does anybody want to speak on behalf of Jeb Bush? Just because nobody speaks for him doesn't mean nobody's voting for him. Chris Christie. Anybody want to speak for Chris Christie? Ben Carson. Anybody want to speak for Ben Carson? Ellen? This is Justice of the Peace Ellen Barhala. Come on down. You don't have to speak for the whole 3 minutes, but if you fill it up, that's fine.
Well, I hugely admire Dr. Carson. I've, read Gifted Hands, of course, and all the, his presence and his gentle spirit, and he's such a good Christian too. And I donated money to him early on in the campaign, but I am taking to heart what Neil White said, and probably when it comes right down to it, I will probably jump on the Ted Cruz bandwagon towards the end.
Okay. Anybody want to speak for Rand Paul and therefore endorse Senator Cruz? Anybody want to speak for Marco Rubio? I know that Representative Rushing said she's going to be on his leadership team, but okay. Donald Trump. Anybody want to speak for the Donald? Come on, Vernon. He's got minions everywhere.
I'd like to speak on for Donald Trump. I feel as though that he's the candidate we need right now. We've got a lot of... Okay, I'd like to speak for Donald Trump. I feel as though he's the candidate we need right now. Washington in the United States is absolutely going downhill. We elected the Congress and the Senate for the Republican Party, and nothing's changed. This country is we're taking God out of it. Not saying anything about God being, shouldn't be, he should be, and that's what, the Bible has all the answers in it. And the United States is the light on the hill. In the past 7 years, this light is dimming. For people around the world, the United States is the place they come. She said here that it's a hope. It's a place of hope for everybody. And if we keep going like we're going, we won't have any hope. The United States is the largest business in the world. The largest business in the world. We're the #1 economy. We've had politicians in there running the country for the last forever. And we're almost $19 trillion in debt. That's too much. Donald Trump is a businessman. We need a businessman to run this country for the next 8 years. I think he'll be able to turn it around, and that's my personal feeling. So
We did forget to endorse Trump or Cruz again. I'm just kidding. Hey, listen, I only get to take a position in one race this year, so I'm going to have fun with it. Okay. Mike Huckabee, I believe, is the only one left on the list. Representative Gates. Is that ringing now? Is it ringing?
My name is Mickey Gates, State Representative 22. I will tell you, regardless of what Republican wins the primary, I will support them. I will knock on doors. While I have my list of pecking order, just like we all do, the great thing is the very bottom of my list so trumps the very top of their list. And I don't know. Well, I won't go that way. Just a couple of things. In 1992, Mike Huckabee, in a largely Democratic state, was willing to challenge the then very powerful former governor, the sitting United States Senator Dale Bumpers, and lost. He turned right around after Bill Clinton was elected president, and the lieutenant governor moved up. He ran for lieutenant governor and won. It was Mike Huckabee that they nailed the doors of the lieutenant governor's office done. He won that race. He went on to win the governorship twice. If you recall, back then there were 100 members in the state representatives, and there were 11 Republicans, and in the Senate there were 4 Republican senators.
He had 15 out of 135. Somebody said, well, when he was governor, why didn't he have any radical Republican agendas? If you ask that, you might be one of our lower educated people, because 15 legislators out of 135, you don't even get anything out of any committee. That being said, I will tell you this, what he did prove is that he was able to find people that were not to one extreme or the other to get to vote for him. He was able to get people that were in the middle to be able to say, I can vote. And in November, it's not who can win the primary. It is in the general election of who can we bring that's in the middle. Because all conservative Republicans are going to vote for whoever wins. But it is the middle of America that we have to be able, and that is why I believe Mike is able to bring the middle of America. When Jay Dickey was our congressman, I had Republicans very mad that when he would come back here, he would not talk mean Republicanism and mean conservatism. And you know what I kept saying? Go look at his voting record. He voted to impeach Bill Clinton. He was voting extremely conservative, but when you come back to a district who is not conservative Republican, you don't go out there savoring, rattling your saber. So we must elect, and I will just tell you, we have incredible, Rubio is an incredible candidate, Ted Cruz, I have such respect, and if they win, I will be holding their sign at Grandin Central. I will be spending money in their campaigns. But as for me, and I can't say for most of my house, but for most of my house, we're going to be supporting somebody that has proven that they can win middle voters over to vote for him. And at the end of the day, at the general election, it is not how many Republicans we can get to vote. It is how many independents can we get to pull the R trigger. And that is the thing that I would ask you to consider, is how many can we get to pull the R, and that's why I ask for you to support Mike Huckabee, who's proven that he can do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Gates. That's everybody, I think, unless somebody just realized they want to speak for a presidential candidate. If not, we're already adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Let's give the whites a hand again for coming down. Our candidates, you guys all did a very good job. The candidates that just have general elections, we will get you in to speak later on in the year. Thank you for coming.